What's up, guys? Thought I would talk a little bit about Doodle's video yesterday. So, I'm absolutely delighted to see that the real identity of the now infamous popular panda pops has been exposed. At least we now know who this popular panda pops really is. Um, Obviously, this popular panda pops. Obviously, everyone's had run-ins with this individual. Obviously, I don't think there's a single person who hasn't had a run-in with them. I think everyone has. Um, you know, Obviously, a lot of people have been, speculating on it for months now. People saying, oh, they wonder who this popular Panda Pops person is. I've seen some people saying they thought it was Ben or Zoe, one of the Sullivans, Ben or Zoe. Some people saying they think it was one of the Inhams. Um, I know a lot of people thought it was Chris. I did at one point. I actually, hold my hands up and admit that I thought that popular Panda Pops was Chris at one point. Um, and then that kind of changed my mind. Because obviously, they said that they actually said in a comment once that they were a former supporter of the channel, and I was like, well, if it's a former supporter of the channel, it can't be one of the Inhams. It can't be Chris or anyone like that. So now I was thinking, maybe it was Super Fan, as I know that she used to be a supporter of Doodle's channel, and I was thinking maybe it was her. Obviously, I think she took issue with the fact that people were bullying kids and were saying nasty things about the kids in particular, um, which coincidentally is the same problem that this popular Panda Pops person has obviously had with the channel, is that people were saying nasty things about the kids and bullying the kids. Obviously, it was confirmed as being as being obviously we know who it was, but obviously it's good to know. At least we know who it is now. Um, at least we have. And we had that answer to who popular panda to their what their real identity is. You know, have we seen the last of popular panda pops? I don't think so. I'm not 100% certain that we've seen the last of popular panda pops. I'd like to hope that we have, but I don't think we have. I honestly don't. I think we have seen. I think we've seen the last of popular panda. I hope we have anyway, but something tells me we haven't seen the last of them. You know, obviously, this person can't hide behind that identity anymore. People know who they are. It was obviously Doodle revealed who it was, which was huge. At least we have that answer now for who popular Panda Pops actually is. It kind of, at least, it kind of puts an end to all of that sort of speculation about who it is, Um, yeah, I'm happy that they've been exposed. We've all had run-ins with this person. We all know who it is. Obviously Jackie Rundle. Obviously it's been exposed as her. Um, it's funny. It's just Jackie Rundle. She's actually commented on my previous videos before, about 6 months ago. She commented on one of my videos. Telling me to eat my chin up. Told my head to eat hold my head high, and you know, and obviously not worry about it too much about the alligator, like the threats and things like that. Basically, offering me, words of, well, just being genuinely kind to me, obviously, after the situation with the Sullivans and everything. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody thought it was her. I hadn't seen her name come up as a potential suspect. Um, I mean, very detective work by Doodle to finally, uncover the truth, finally to, it's good to finally get that answer as to who this popular Panda Pops person is. Like, at least we know that now. At least we have the answer to that question. It's like something that people have wanted to know for so long. It's like I think a lot of people have started to wonder who the hell it is. As I said, I can't lie. I admit I did think it was one of the Unims at one point. Potentially Chris. But then when Popular Panda Pops actually said that, or Jackie Rundle said that they were a former member of the channel, like former supporter of the channel, I was like, well, it can't be one of the Imps. You know, I don't think anyone really knew for sure who they were. Everyone was kind of thinking, well, who are they? What's their real identity? And at least Doodle has given us those answers. At least we now know who it was, who it is. I'd like to think we've seen the last of Popular Panda Pops, but I don't think we have. They put this. Obviously, Jackie's probably not too worried that her identity has been exposed, and people now know that she's Popular Panda Pops. She's probably happy that people are out there. She's probably happy that people finally know that. You know, at least it's fine. At least we know that answer now. We know who it is. That's the main thing. Um, it wasn't who I was expecting it to be though. I I don't know why, but for a while now I've just been so adamant that it had to be Super Delphin. I couldn't think of like who else it could be. Like she was the only person that was coming to mind. Especially, I was thinking like who else could it be? Like I can't think of it. I can't think of anybody else. I personally couldn't think of anyone else that it could be. I was like trying to rack my brains thinking who could it be? Who else could it be? If it's not Super Delphin or anyone like that, who else could it be? You know, and Jackie Rundle is one name that never crossed my mind. And I don't think her name would have crossed anyone's mind. Um, but yeah, when I think about some of the things that, this popular Panda Pops has said to people, or should I say Jackie Rundle has said to people, it's actually like she's actually said some very nasty things to people and actually been very she's a very nasty, vile, horrible person. And unfortunately, she is, she is an individual that's become quite well known on the channel. She's someone that a lot of people have had run-ins with. As I said, I don't think there is anyone that hasn't had a run-in with her, or a run-in with, under her popular Panda Pops identity. I think everyone's had a run-in with popular Panda Pops at some point, and it had interactions with with this popular Panda Pops, but, not that that was fun. You know, it's so crazy knowing that this was a person who was actually being, like, only several months ago, was actually being, was actually being very, very nice to not only myself, but to the other people that commented on Doodle's channel. She was obviously a full supporter of the channel, and all of a sudden, you know, maybe sometime, I can't say that I've really seen any comments on Doodle's channel that I would class as bullying his, or I don't think anyone's really said anything like nasty about the kids. People haven't said anything about the kids that isn't true. This is the thing with Doodle's channel. People don't really say anything that isn't true. Everything that is said by people in the comments is basically true. You know, I really do hope we've seen the last of popular panda pops, and we won't be seeing them again anytime soon. But I doubt that's the case. You know, it's really crazy, to be honest. It's something that I waited a very long time for to see. Who it really was. At least we don't have to speculate on that anymore now. We don't have to keep thinking like who is keep racking our brains thinking who is it and who would it be. Trying to get to, at least we don't have we don't have to try and get to the bottom of that now, as obviously Doodle's got to the bottom of it. Um, I mean Doodle's very good when it comes to detective work, I must say. Um, I feel like he should rename his channel to Detective Doodle. He's very good when it comes to detective work. Um, that's not what I like. You know, I I love everything about his channel. I know a lot of people have their reasons for not agreeing with what he does. And I was talking about this the other week, and I said, I don't get why people comment on his vlogs if they don't on his videos if they really don't like, you know, if they don't like what he puts out there or whatever. It's like the iFam don't really practice what they preach. It's like as I said, whenever anyone posts a negative comment on one of the Inum's videos, the iFan will always say to that person, if you don't like it, don't watch. Well, maybe they should practice what they preach and not comment on Doodle's videos if they don't like his videos. You know, I, mm, the interactions that I've had with this popular Panda Pops individual was very, very unpleasant. And I think a lot of people can agree on that the interactions they've had with popular Panda Pops were very, very unpleasant. And, you know, I mean, obviously, she was a very nasty, vile person. Some of the things that she would, some of the things that she would say to people were just really, really nasty. All the people goons and things like that. Like, I don't know who. I mean, she should be ashamed of herself, really. But I know that she probably isn't, ashamed of herself. She's probably loving the fact that her real identity has been exposed. You know, I mean, does she really think that that people wouldn't actually find that out? Like, that her real identity would never be exposed. Her identity was always going to end up being exposed at some point. You know, I mean, obviously, I don't think there's anyone I can possibly hate anybody more than I do, hate this popular Panda Pops individual. Like this, and obviously the fact that, obviously, it's, it's just unbelievable. Um, I mean, just Jackie Rondo, I mean, I can't believe I still can't believe it's her, Um, as I said, no, I don't think anybody thought it was her. Like, I don't think anybody, I think a lot of people were thinking of someone else. Like, her name never came up in the comments. Like, no one mentioned, what it was her. But yeah, I mean, it's just unbelievable. Um, and yeah, talk about crazy. Talk about absolutely crazy. I mean, I don't know what else to say. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little video. I want to give my thoughts on that. I'll see you for another video soon. Bye bye.
How many kids has she got now? I have no idea.